The message came through at 2:47 a.m. I was awake anyway, insomnia had been my companion for months, when my phone lit up with my sister Jessica's name. I expected wedding details. Seating charts. Maybe a panicked question about flowers. Instead, I got this: "Linda, I've been thinking, you're just not in a place to attend my wedding. You know, financially and socially. It would be awkward for my guests. I hope you understand." I read it 3 times. Then I read the second text: "You're too poor for my wedding." I sat there in the dark, my phone glowing in my hand, and I felt something inside me go completely still. Not angry. Not hurt. Just still. Because here's the thing nobody tells you about betrayal: sometimes it arrives so quietly, so casually, that it takes your breath away before you even realize you've been stabbed. If you've ever had family make you feel small, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. You're not alone in this. Let me back up. My name is Linda Chen, and I'm 34 years old. I live in Portland, Oregon, in a modest apartment with a view of a parking lot. I work in software development, nothing glamorous, but steady. Comfortable. My sister Jessica is 2 years younger and has always been the star. Growing up in Sacramento, she was the one our parents showed off. Cheerleading captain. Homecoming queen. She married her college boyfriend, Derek, who came from old money in San Francisco. They lived in a Pacific Heights townhouse that cost more than I'd make in a lifetime. I was the one who studied too much, wore the wrong clothes, stayed home on weekends debugging code for fun. Our parents never said I was the disappointment. They didn't have to. But here's what they didn't know: I was good at what I did. Really good. 5 years ago, I developed a niche software tool for logistics companies. Small operation, just me and 2 contractors. We licensed it to a few regional firms. Then a few national ones. Then Amazon came knocking. I sold the licensing rights for $1.2 million. After taxes, I cleared just under $900,000. Nobody in my family knew. I didn't tell them because I knew what would happen. My parents would have made a spectacle. Jessica would have needed something. Everyone would have had opinions about what I should do with all that money. So I stayed quiet. I kept my apartment. Kept my old Honda. Kept working my regular job. And I started helping Jessica. It began small. She mentioned needing $3,000 for new furniture. I sent it anonymously through Venmo from a burner account, labeled, "Gift from a friend." Then it was $12,000 for Derek's business venture that flopped. Then $8,500 when their townhouse needed foundation work. Then $25,000 when Jessica wanted to throw our mother a 60th birthday party at a winery in Napa Valley, her dream celebration. Then the wedding fund started. Jessica and Derek had been married at City Hall years ago, but Jessica always wanted the real wedding. The venue. The dress. The Instagram perfect day. So when she announced her vow renewal ceremony, I quietly began transferring money. $15,000 for the venue deposit at a vineyard estate in Sonoma. $18,000 for catering. $9,000 for photography and videography. Every time, I used the same anonymous Venmo account. Every time, Jessica posted about their amazing luck and blessings on social media. Over 2 years, I sent $85,000. Nobody knew it was me. 3 months before the big day, Jessica threw an engagement party at her townhouse. I wasn't invited. I found out from our cousin Melissa's Instagram story: champagne tower, string quartet, everyone dressed like they were attending the Met Gala. When I asked Jessica about it later, she laughed. Oh, Linda, it was just a small thing. I didn't think you'd be comfortable. You know, it was mostly Derek's colleagues and our society friends. Society friends. I let it go. Then the bridal shower happened. Also not invited. Then the bachelorette weekend in Cabo. Also not invited. Each time, Jessica had a reason. You're so busy with work. It's not really your scene. I didn't want you to feel out of place. But she always needed money. And I always sent it. So when that text came through at 2:47 a.m., "You're too poor for my wedding," something inside me finally cracked open. I got up, made coffee, and sat at my kitchen table with my laptop. I pulled up my transaction history. Every anonymous transfer. Every mysterious blessing Jessica had celebrated online. $85,000. $85,000 of my money, funding a wedding I was too poor to attend. I opened a new message to Jessica. Understood. I respect your decision. I hope your day is everything you dreamed of. Then I opened Venmo. And I started filing refund requests. Here's what most people don't know about Venmo: if you send money from a linked bank account and the recipient hasn't transferred it out yet, you can dispute the transaction as unauthorized or fraudulent. It's messy. It's aggressive. But it's possible. I had saved every text where Jessica complained about money troubles, every message where she celebrated the anonymous gifts. None of them mentioned my name. Because she didn't know. I filed disputes for every major transaction from the past 18 months, anything still within Venmo's dispute window. Then I went further. The venue deposit? I'd paid that directly from my account to the Vineyard estate using a check, pretending to be a family friend. I contacted them, explained there had been a misunderstanding, and requested a refund due to a clerical error. I offered to cover their administrative fee. The caterer, the photographer, the florist, I'd made those payments through third-party services to stay anonymous. I called each one, politely explained that the payments had been made in error, and requested reversals. Some required proof. I had it. Bank statements, email confirmations, everything. By sunrise, I'd initiated refund claims totaling $68,000. The rest, older transactions, cash payments I couldn't recover, I let go. Then I waited. If you're hooked, hit that subscribe button. This is where everything falls apart. It took 3 days. I was at my desk at work when my phone started buzzing. Jessica's name. 6 missed calls. Then a text, "Linda, call me right now." Then another, "What did you do?" Then voicemails. Screaming. Crying. Accusations. I didn't respond. That evening, my mother called. "Linda, Jessica is hysterical. She's saying her wedding accounts have been frozen, vendors are canceling, something about fraud charges. Do you know anything about this?" "No," I said calmly. "That sounds awful. She seems to think she's saying someone she trusted has sabotaged her. This is a disaster, Linda. Can you send her some money? Just to help smooth things over?" I took a breath. "Mom, I would, but, you know. I'm too poor." Silence. "What?" Jessica said I'm too poor to attend her wedding. So I'm probably too poor to help. I hung up. Jessica showed up at my apartment 2 days later. She looked wrecked. No makeup, hair in a messy bun, sweatpants. The golden child, stripped of her shine. "You did this," she said the second I opened the door. "Did what?" "Don't play dumb. The venue called. The caterer. The florist. They all said the payments were reversed. The anonymous donor, it was you, wasn't it? I stepped aside. Come in. She stormed past me into my living room, spinning around with wild eyes. Why would you do this? You're my sister. I was your ATM, I corrected quietly. There's a difference. That's not fair. You uninvited me from your wedding, Jessica. You called me too poor. Too embarrassing. Not good enough for your society friends. Her face crumpled. I didn't mean it like that. Yes, you did. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tears spilled over. I sent you $85,000, I continued, my voice steady. I paid for your dream wedding because I love you. Because I wanted you to be happy. And you looked me in the eye and told me I wasn't worth a seat in the room. I was stressed. You were cruel. Jessica sank onto my couch, sobbing into her hands. Please, Linda. Please. The wedding is in 3 weeks. We can't afford to replace everything. Derek's furious. My in-laws think I'm a fraud. Please just put the money back. I sat down across from her. No. You can't do this to me, Jessica whispered. I already did. I'll tell Mom and Dad. Go ahead. She stared at me, disbelieving. So I pulled out my laptop, opened my transaction history, and turned the screen toward her. Every anonymous donation. Every mysterious blessing. It was me. For 2 years, I funded your life because I thought family meant something to you. Jessica's face went white as she scrolled through the list. You have this much money? I did. Before I gave it to you. But you drive a Honda. You live here. She gestured around my small apartment like it was evidence of poverty. Because I don't need to prove anything to anyone, I said. Unlike you. She started crying again. I didn't know. If I'd known. You would have treated me differently? I asked. You would have invited me to your party? Or would you have just asked for more money? She didn't answer. Here's what's going to happen, I said. You're going to leave. You're going to figure out your wedding with whatever resources you actually have. And you're going to stop pretending we're close. Linda. I'm done being invisible. Jessica left. The next week was chaos. My parents called, begging me to be reasonable. Cousins reached out, trying to mediate. Jessica's in-laws apparently threatened to pull their financial support, believing she'd been scamming people. Derek called me once, furious, calling me vindictive and cruel. I told him his wife had called me too poor for her wedding, and hung up. The wedding, I later heard, was significantly downsized. They held it at a small inn in Napa Valley instead of the Sonoma estate. 20 guests instead of 200. A local photographer instead of the award-winning one. Grocery store flowers. Jessica posted one photo on Instagram. She looked beautiful. The caption was short, intimate celebration with our closest loved ones. I wasn't in the photo. I didn't expect to be. Drop a like if you think she deserved what happened. Let me know in the comments. 6 weeks after the wedding, I got a letter. Handwritten. Mailed to my apartment. Jessica's looping cursive on the envelope. Inside. Linda. I don't know if you'll read this. I don't know if I deserve for you to. I've spent the last month trying to understand what I did. Trying to justify it. Trying to make it your fault for keeping secrets. But the truth is, I treated you like you didn't matter because I was ashamed. Ashamed that Derek's family has money and we don't. Ashamed that I needed help. Ashamed that my little sister was watching me pretend to be someone I'm not. I wanted you at my wedding. I was just terrified you'd see through me. That everyone would. I'm sorry. I know that's not enough. But it's true. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know. Jessica. I read it twice. Then I folded it, put it in a drawer, and went back to work. A month later, my mother called. Jessica told me everything, she said quietly. Everything? About the money. About what she said to you. I waited. I owe you an apology too, Linda. I always thought Jessica needed more because she seemed more fragile. But I see now I made you invisible. I made you think you had to earn your place in this family. And that's on me. My throat tightened. I don't need you to send money to be seen, Mom. I know, she whispered. I know that now. We talked for an hour. It didn't fix everything. But it was a start. Jessica and I didn't speak for 6 months. Then she called. Just to check in. No ask. No favor. Just, how are you? We talked for 20 minutes. She told me about marriage counseling. About her part-time job at a non-profit. About how she'd been forced to reckon with who she was without the performance. I told her about a new software project I was excited about. She said, "That's amazing, Linda." Really? And for the first time, I believed her. We're not close. Not like sisters in movies. But we're rebuilding something. Slowly. Carefully. She knows now that I'm not her safety net. I know now that I don't have to shrink to fit into her life. Here's what I learned from all of this. Generosity without boundaries isn't love. It's self-erasure. For years, I thought being invisible made me noble. I thought funding Jessica's dream life from the shadows meant I was a good sister. But I wasn't giving out of love. I was giving out of fear that if I didn't, I'd disappear completely. The truth is, real love doesn't ask you to be small. Real family doesn't measure your worth by your social status, your job title, or your ability to fund their lifestyle. And revenge? Revenge isn't about destruction. Sometimes it's just about refusing to disappear. I still live in Portland. Same apartment. Same Honda. But I'm building something new, a small startup focused on accessibility software. I've hired 3 developers. We're small, but we're growing. I set aside $50,000 of what I recovered in a trust for my future nieces or nephews, if Jessica has kids someday. Not for her. For them. The rest? I'm investing in myself. And I'm learning something I never knew before. Being seen doesn't require permission. It requires presence. If this story hit home, please subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Your support means everything. So here's my message to anyone who's ever been the invisible one, the reliable one, the one everyone takes for granted. You don't owe anyone access to your generosity if they refuse to see your humanity. You are not selfish for protecting your peace. You are not cruel for demanding respect. And you are not too poor, too quiet, too small, or too anything to deserve a seat at the table. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop showing up for people who refuse to see you. And sometimes the strongest revenge is simply reclaiming your worth. My sister texted, "You're too poor for my wedding." I replied, "Understood." And I took back every single dollar I'd given her. Not because I'm heartless, but because I finally learned. I was never too poor. I was just giving to people who were too blind to see my value. Thank you for listening to my story. Drop a comment telling me what you would have done. And remember, you deserve to be seen.